Hi everyone, it's Rax. Let's walk through the patch notes for patch 2.6.5 for Diablo 3 that's coming in season 17. Just want to provide some additional clarity or thoughts around all of the items so we know what to expect for the next season. Okay, so let's scroll down here. All right, first item. Torments 14, 15, and 16 have been added to the game. This is extremely important and an awesome change. I assume it's going to have increased rewards for the drops, and with the power creep in this game, a lot of the classes are able to just decimate. Torment 13, one of the best things that I'm hoping for playing on Torment 16 is that there will be increased Death's Breath drops, and also that we can get more than 3 Greater Rift Keystones from the Guardians at the end, or potentially a higher chance to get 3 Greater Rift Keystones, because we all know how important Greater Rifts are. So portals left behind by treasure goblins may occasionally lead somewhere utterly ridiculous. Utterly, I think, is a huge hint. It's going to be something with cows, which we all love. One thing I want to keep in mind here is I'm assuming that this only means treasure goblins when doing bounties and potentially campaign mode, because treasure goblins in Rifts and treasure goblins in Greed's Lair do not drop these portals, so I think that's the only time we're going to see those. Using an ancient or primal puzzle ring in Kanai's cube will produce a new result. This presents an interesting question. If we get a regular puzzle ring, should we use the recipe to reforge that legendary to try to make it ancient or primal ancient? Is that worth it? Initial thoughts are probably not. The bounty mats are so important, not just for cubing legendary powers, but also for re-rolling key pieces of gear. It probably won't be worth it unless the rewards are absolutely insane, but it's something to keep in mind. Party portraits now display if a player's cheat death buff has recently been used, and PC only. That's a good change. I tank sometimes, so that would be helpful to know. If my DPS are about to die, I might play a little bit safer. When a boss is killed in a Nephilim Rift, a permanent ping will mark the location of the boss's death until the rift is closed. This is extremely important, especially if you're playing in public games or if someone goes AFK. It's always people running around wondering where the boss was. Now we're going to know. Boss notification screen has received a rework. The Greater Rift notification screen has received a rework. Completion screen has a rework. Probably going to be great. We'll see what that looks like. Matchmaking no longer prevents players from joining a game while a Greater Rift is already in progress. Players who join the game will still be unable to join a Greater Rift in progress. The progress bar for a Greater Rift is now visible to all players in the game, regardless of whether they are participating in the Rift or not. Good changes. Again, a lot of times when people join, sometimes players don't understand that once a Greater Rift is in progress, you can't get in, and they always are asking, what's going on? Now hopefully they'll know, they'll see the progress, they'll see the bar moving, and they'll know when they'll be able to get into the game. Quality of life. Additional stash space has been added. Nobody's going to complain about that. Search functionality has been added to the stash, PC only. Very important. I can't tell you how many times when switching between specs on a certain character where it'll take a piece of gear that I have and put it somewhere in my stash, and I can never find it, especially when you start to get a lot of gear. Now we're just going to search for it and find it right away, hopefully. All crafters have an expand collapse all button for SPs, PC only. We'll take it. Most bounty indicators are now displayed immediately after entering the bounty area. Pity arrows. We'll take them. Death's Breaths now drop in Heraldric caches. Again, bounties are already quite valuable. They're sometimes not that fun to do, but now they're even more valuable depending on how many DBs drop. Very awesome changes. All right, the buff for Season 17 is going to be the Legacy of Nightmares buff. Damage is increased by 750, and damage taken is reduced by 4% for every ancient item that you have equipped while having no set bonuses active. So The main thoughts on this at the beginning are this should benefit the classes that already have an extremely powerful lawn spec. That's things like the Crusader and the Wizard. Should be incredibly powerful classes next season, because the way to think about this buff is it frees up the jewelry slots for those builds. So that lets you put on things like Convention of the Elements, Stone of Jordan, Obsidian Ring of the Zodiac, Oculus Ring, or maybe some other class-specific ring. Now, hopefully, it will open up other builds, like potentially the Volcano Whirlwind Barbarian build. May be viable now because it opens up those 2 jewelry slots, but we'll have to see. Interesting choice for this season. Okay, onto the items. The Bottomless Potion of the Unfettered become immune to control impairing effects for 5 to 7 seconds after drinking this potion. One very important thing about this is I believe that if you are under the effect of a crowd controlling effect, like you are jailed or you are frozen, you cannot use a potion. So if that is true, if you cannot use this potion while you're crowd controlled, you have to use it before the affix hits you. So something to keep in mind, something to test. Akan's leniency, it looks like they're going to have Blessed Shield's buff go from 15 to 20 to 75 to 100. So multiplying it by 5, so definitely going to have to test Blessed Shield. Death Nova, it looks like it's getting quadruple the damage. Chantoto's Will, looks like it's getting quadruple the damage as well. And Wave of Destruction ticks now scale with attack speed. Sounds like a big buff, definitely going to have to test it. Dagger of Darts, so this first part, your poison darts and your fetish's poison darts now pierce. That part's already in the game. It's the second part, and deal an additional 500% damage. That's coming through. I've seen this build before, and the fetishes shoot poison everywhere. Definitely going to have to try this. Probably going to be a lot of fun now, especially if it's viable. Siphon Blood is getting a big buff. Jakang board, Blessed Shield ricochets to 6 additional enemies and has its damage increased by, well, another decent buff. So this combined with this buff right here, we're definitely going to have to try out Blessed Shield Crusaders. So on Sage's set, it now doubles the amount of Death's Breath that drop. Previously, it increased it by 1. So there's a couple of things to think about here. So right now on T13, a lot of elites drop 3 Death's Breaths. So now it could potentially drop 6, right? Well, keep in mind, Torment 16 is coming. So maybe elites will drop 4 Death's Breaths, or maybe 5. And then this Sage's set would be pretty insane. But also keep in mind, if you're making a lawn build, you can't have any set bonuses, including this one. So if you're going to use this set, you're going to have to forfeit that buff and go with something else. All right, and the final section here is bug fixes. I read through this. I didn't find anything too amazing, but don't worry. I will put the link down in the description below if you'd like to read through these yourselves. Well, that's it, everyone. Thank you so much for watching. I want to let you know I'm going to be streaming every single day. We're going to put at least 40 or 50 hours into this PTR. We'll test that Dagger of Darts build. We'll test Blessed Hammer Crusaders. And we'll try to find all these new creative things that we can do with that Lawn Crusader. We're going to be re-rolling for ancient puzzle rings to see what happens, see if we can find that utterly ridiculous portal to see what's going on with that. So if you'd like to see more, please subscribe to my YouTube and come check me out on Twitch. Thank you so much.